Well, beautiful Sunday afternoon, at least right now. I know there's a call for potential weather later on. The first pitch of the game from Marquis is a strike to Juan Pierre, who has more experience against Marquis than any other hitter in the lineup. He's 8 for 31 in his matchups, which computes to a .258 average.
Well, it's pretty nice for Joe Torre when he's able to give Rafael Furcal one of the premier leadoff hitters and then go with a guy like Juan Pierre.
Yeah, another outstanding leadoff man. 0-2 on Pierre. And swung on and missed. Iannetta's got to record the out at first, and he does so. So a very nice start from Marquis, and he strikes out a guy that rarely strikes out.
Yeah, and 3 pitches. That was nice. Let's take a look at our Bird Automotive keys to the game for victory for the Rockies today. Now limit the walks. The last 2 games, the Rockies have walked 12 guys, and the Dodgers lead the major leagues in walks. And then no Manny. 0 for 5 last night, 3 Ks. Joe Torre just thought, you know what? He needs a day off, but it's nice for the Rockies. But he is lurking in the background. And just win, baby. That old line. Just win. You got to regain some of that confidence somehow, some way.
And this ball is topped to first. I like it. 4 pitches, 2 outs. Orlando Hudson, who's on fire with that 11-game hitting streak. He is an easy out. I did some count. It's actually 14 walks.
Well, you know what? I didn't count the two intentional walks.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I came up with just 12 walks across the board.
And 2 hit batters.
Yep. And
a wild pitch.
A lot of extra base runners.
Not good stuff. Hopefully it turns around this afternoon with Marquis out there. Andre Ethier 0 for 9 against Jason Marquis. And one of the amazing things, you look down this gifted offensive lineup for the Dodgers, and for whatever reason, Jason Marquis has owned virtually every one of them. In fact, here's something. The Manny's not in the lineup, but between Ethier, Kemp, and Manny Ramirez, 3 outstanding hitters, right?
Yeah.
Manny's going to the Hall of Fame. 0 for 20 combined against Marquis.
That's amazing just to see what he's been able to do with it. But that just goes to show you the success you have against a particular team, whether it be on the hill or at the plate. I mean, for what they could throw 5 Cy Young guys out there. If you're good against that club as a hitter, you're going to get your hits. Just the confidence and the knowing ability that you're going to do it.
0-2 line drive center field. That's going to drop. So Ethier ends that stretch of 0 for 9. 7 pitches by Marquis, 7 strikes, 2 out base runner for the Dodgers. And here's James Loney. You saw in our graphic a moment ago, Loney has had a good series. He's had some large games against the Rockies. In fact, he wasn't a month into his big league career a few years ago, and he had a 9 RBI ball game at Coors Field.
Well, and the flexibility that he provides for Joe Torre. I mean, he hit him 5th the first couple of games, but hitting behind Manny. Now he slides him into the 4 spots. Not afraid to put 2 left-handed batters back to back.
In the air down the left field line. Spilly's not going to get there. In fact, it lands in the first row. And Ryan, being the good guy that he is, going to help out and toss the ball. Is that a young lady? I think it was
somebody who had a glove.
Young lady who had a glove.
Well, how special is that? Come to the ball game and sitting there with Dad and get a ball.
Oh, 0-1 on James Loney. And this ball is a base hit to right past a diving Clint Barmas. So Loney stays warm. This is what hurt the Rockies last night. A bunch of 2-out base hits.
And just a ball that just caught too much of the inside part of the plate. Clint Barmas did everything he could to try to reach that baseball with the dive. Just couldn't get it.
That'll bring up Russell Martin, who matched a career high with 4 ribbies last night. Martin's 2 for 11 against Jason Marquis. So make a pitch, get out of the inning.
To me, he had that big hit of that inning in the first inning last night. That base hit to right field, driving a couple runs to extend that lead.
And he made a pitch and he'll get out of the inning. And you know what? Even with the 2 hits, it's a 10-pitch inning for Jason Marquis. So a nice start for Marquis. Rockies will try to get going offensively against left-hander Clayton Kershaw. Hustling out there beyond left field. We go to the bottom of the first inning. Clint Hurdle on the top step. Here's his lineup for Sunday afternoon. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. He's got Dexter Fowler leading off. He'll be followed by Troy Tulowitzki in that 2-hole. Ryan Spilborg slides down to the 3 spot. And then Garrett Atkins, Brad Hopp, Jeff Baker 6th. He's 4 for 6 against Kershaw with a home run. Chris Iannetta, Clint Barmas, and then the good hitting pitcher Jason Marquis. Hopefully that's a winning lineup today against Kershaw, who, like a lot of young pitchers with great talent, they can be mesmerizing one moment and frustrating the next.
Yeah, the Fidelity Scouting Report says as much. I mean, 0-1, but he's had some high strikeout games, struggled in his last outing. He had 2 main pitches, a fastball 94 to 96 miles an hour, and a big overhand curveball. And then homesick. His ERA is almost 2.5 runs higher on the road than it is at home.
Joe Torre was asked during the spring about Kershaw's repertoire, which, as Huey mentioned, is primarily heater, which is a great one. That's a 93 for a strike, and an overhand curveball. Because he was working on a changeup this spring. He said, hey, listen, there was a guy here who was left-handed who pitched a while back that's a good friend of mine that was pretty good with those 2 pitches.
Well, is he talking about Sandy Koufax?
He was talking about Sandy Koufax, who basically threw the 96 to 98 mile an hour heater and an overhand curveball that buckled your knees.
Well, think about that. Now the 21-year-old out on the mound, he's being compared to Sandy Koufax. That's big, big shoes to fill.
Yeah. Maybe the reference came in the same sentence, not necessarily a comparison. Here's the 1-2. And this is hit in the air to shallow center field. Going back is Orlando Hudson to make the catch. 1 retired. Toyota gloves for LA. Pierre Kemp and Ethier. That's a very good outfield. 3 guys that can run a little bit. Blake DeWitt at third, Juan Castro at short, Orlando Hudson and James Loney in the infield. Russell Martin doing the catching. Tulowitzki trying to snap an 0 for 16 stretch. He did walk 4 times on Friday night.
That's a big bender right there. Anytime you see a guy throwing from the opposite side than what you're hitting, a lefty to a righty or a righty a pitcher to a lefty hitter, and it buckles him, you know that's good. Not good for the hitter, but that's how good the pitch was.
Much has been made the last couple of days about where Clayton Kershaw is from. He's from the Dallas area, the affluent suburb of Highland Park and Highland Park High School. And one of his close friends is Matthew Stafford, who went to Highland Park, #1 pick in the NFL draft of the Detroit Lions, the Georgia quarterback. So they were texting each other back and forth. And Kershaw was asked, did you play quarterback? He said, my freshman year. He said, but we had a pretty good quarterback already. That, of course, being Stafford. A lot of big names have come out of Highland Park High School. Chris Young, the very good pitcher of the San Diego Padres. The guy that has helped tutor Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, who we'll see tomorrow night, actually, for the Padres. That? Yeah,
back-to-back guys.
Nights.
Also, did you know Doak Walker, the late, great Doak Walker, went to Highland Park?
They named an award after him, didn't they?
They did. Bobby Lane went to Highland Park High School. Outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes on Tulowitzki. And that rides high. 3-2 on Tulowitzki. Kershaw drafted right out of Highland Park High School. He was the 7th pick in the 2006 draft.
You can see why. I mean, an arm like that drafted pretty high.
3-2, and he got him with a fastball on the outside part of the plate. 2 outs. That'll bring up Ryan Spilborg's reminder that if the Rockies score 7 or more runs during this afternoon's ball game, make your way to Taco Bell tomorrow between 4 and 6 in the afternoon. You will receive 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a drink. Asked Spilborgs about his approach during the pregame show today, whether he's hitting first or second or third, and he said, the one thing I have to maintain is my aggressiveness. He said for a couple of days last week, he said I lost the aggressiveness, fell behind, seemed like every at bat 0-2. Now Kershaw with a 1-2-3 first inning. We'll go to the second, no score. For the top of the second inning, Jason Marquis is ready to go. Matt Kemp, Blake DeWitt, and Juan Castro. Matt Kemp hitless in 5 at-bats against Marquis, and that's a great spot. Evidently just a little south of the knees. Lance Barksdale is calling balls and strikes. James Hoy at first, Adrian Johnson at second, Randy Marsh at third. Game time temperature 57 degrees. Boy, it is a little cooler than it looks.
A little more warm when we came to the ballpark this morning.
Yeah.
The clouds are starting to thicken up just a little bit.
Slider misses. I'm starting to eyeball that jacket of yours that you brought along.
You got to be prepared like a Boy Scout. I told you that before we went on the air.
But I wasn't a Boy Scout. I think they kicked me out of Cub Scouts early on. They didn't play enough sports. 2 balls and a strike. Boy, that thing disappeared. How about the sink on that?
You know, the last 2 pitches have done that. They just really had the late sink on it. And he's started in a good spot, too, because it's at the knee. So you look and you think it's going to be a strike as a hitter, and you go to swing at it, and it disappears down by your ankles.
That is flat nasty. Beautiful pitch by Marquis. Second strikeout of the ball game. One gone. Blake DeWitt will approach, and we get our first Mike Shaw auto update with Alana Rizzo. Good morning, Alana. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good to be with both you and Huey. Wanted to talk a little bit more about Jeff Baker. You know, everybody can say what they want to say about this team or how the team is feeling, but really only the team knows exactly how it is. And I asked Jeff Baker about that. You know, what is the state of the team right now? He said, of course, we're frustrated. We're not getting the results that we want to get, but by no means is this team mailing it in. Of course, we haven't even played 10% of the season yet. He said, are we frustrated? Yes, but nobody is hanging their head. Nobody is moping around this locker room. We know that we have the talent. Something has got to give. And he said, we just have to go out there and we just have to work, which goes along with what you guys were saying earlier in the Burt keys to the game. We just have to win, Drew.
Alana, I got the same sense. I know, Jeff Houston, you did as well today. I think, and I'm going to clean this up a little bit naturally for a family audience, this is a team that's a clubhouse that's hacked off.
Yeah, they're not real happy. I mean, anytime you're playing in a ball club and they've come in and they've beaten you 5 straight times, yeah, you're going to be a little bit mad. You want to take a little bit of revenge back.
And it's not even just the Dodgers. That's
no.
It's just overall the way they've gotten out of the gate. After, you know, people forget now they were 3-1 at one point.
That's right, and the work you put in spring training. To me, I mean, that was a different spring training than any spring trainings that I've seen, and the way they went about their work, and to come out of the gate, that's what's disheartening for the players.
Center field fairly deep, but Mr. Smooth is out there. He really did. Blake DeWitt is retired, and that'll bring up Juan Castro.
He just glided back, turned just a little bit, and went after the baseball.
I keep going back to what I said in the open to you, Jeff, and I mentioned this last night. This is a club that is underachieving. They are way better than their performance through the first 16 ball games. Therefore, you have to feel like, all right, things are going to turn around, and they should turn around, hopefully not only soon, but fairly dramatically. 8 starts between Aaron Cook, who was an all-star last year, Ubaldo Jimenez, who has as good a stuff as anybody in the game, and the Rockies have 1 win. That's not going to continue. It can't.
It really can't, but think about this. Still 143 ball games left.
Yep.
I mean, that's the positive thing about it. You look at it and you say, wow, Jeff Baker nailed it. He said, we're not even a 10th of the way through the season, and it will change. It will get better.
The 1-1 on Juan Castro, and a line drive to right, and a nice catch made there by Brad Hopp. 3 up, 3 down. That's what you like to see. Jason Marquis looks very, very good. Bottom of the second inning with Jeff Houston. I'm Drew Goodman. Alana Rizzo making her way around the ballpark. Garrett Atkins, Brad Hopp, and Jeff Baker to face Clayton Kershaw. Time for our Geico quote of the day. It's worth remembering that under Steinbrenner, we tend to operate on the theory that no one is unsignable. That was a Yankee scout while trying to lure John Elway away from football, and they did. And he played in the New York Penn League at Oneonta, and John, because he is so gifted, hit over 300.
Yeah, they probably didn't run on his arm either.
Probably not.
That was one of the first things they learned. That's a pretty good arm.
Here's the 0-1 on Atkins, and you can see him pause in the middle of his preparation to hit on that breaking ball.
Yeah, same pitch that Troy got when he kind of froze on it. Garrett got the same one.
And
wow,
another nasty one. Listen, Kershaw, if he's going to work ahead 0-2, it's going to be a long day.
Yeah, and he's going to pile some strikeouts up as well. I mean, 0-2, you're looking for that hard fastball, and then able to drop it down the Hyundai cam. Garrett Atkins way out in front. The top hand comes off the bat. I mean, you can't lengthen your bat anymore to try to just foul it off.
Oh, and 1 on Brad Hopp. Brad is 1 for 2 against Kershaw. The one was a home run. And a 2-strike count.
Well, so far, the early theme in this ball game has been the ability of both pitchers to fill up the strike zone.
14 of 19 in the strike zone for the 21-year-old Kershaw. Purpose pitch at 95. He swings at it great, but now you get that curveball back at play.
Yeah, lefty on lefty.
That one he didn't get a good grip on. It's 2-2. Brad last year hit 239 in the month of April. He's at 308 this year. Actually, April has traditionally been his best month. He's a 303 lifetime hitter in April, and he stayed on that breaking pitch, but he bounced it to Loney. Just that, you know, his approach, to me, Brad has grown offensively. You know he's going to hit the home runs. He's going to be a 25-plus home run guy. He's going to drive in runs. Always been a clutch hitter. But you don't see many swings and misses, or as many swings and misses as you did perhaps in the past.
Well, he's learned the strike zone, and I mentioned it before. That's the big key for me. You learn your swing as a hitter, and that finally develops, and then you learn plate discipline. Sometimes it comes earlier for guys, sometimes it comes later. A lot of times it comes later for the guys that are home run hitters. They think they can try to hit every single ball out of the ballpark, and they understand that I got to get that ball down and get it into my zone.
Jeff Baker with a 1-strike count, and that's in there. It's 0-2. Man, Kershaw's pounding the zone.
Yeah.
For Bake, his 4th start this year. He's had 2 at second and now 2 at third, which is his more natural position. Though when he was at Clemson, initially he was a shortstop, and then he flip-flopped to the third baseman. The third baseman's name, of course, Khalil Green. Pretty good left side at Clemson.
Khalil's doing all right for the Cardinals.
Cardinals are doing all right for the Cardinals. That's up high, 2-2. Cardinals as a team hitting .303. The best record in baseball. 2-2 on Bake. And he stayed back nicely. Well, he was on that breaking pitch.
He was. He's seen enough of them early on, and that's one of the advantages that you do have hitting 6th. You get the opportunity to see, even from the dugout, how balls are breaking. Or is it going to be the sharp one? Where does it start out? Where does it end up?
There it is again, hitting the air to center field. And Matt Kent makes the catch. 6 in a row retired out of the gate for Clayton Kershaw. We are scoreless as we move to the 3rd. Rockies baseball on FSN is brought to you by Burt Chevrolet, where the '09 Silverado Crew Cab is under 23 grand. By Remax, outstanding agents, outstanding results. And by Comcast Searchlight, go to channel 888 on your Comcast remote for real estate, automotive, careers, and more. Clayton Kershaw is going to lead off in the top of the third inning, and Jason Marquis' first pitch misses. Both of these guys have hit the strike zone with great regularity here in the first couple of innings. 24 pitches, 18 strikes for Jason Marquis. Falls behind here 2-0 as I brag about him throwing strikes. And that sinks low. It's 3-0. Kershaw is one of those guys. It's not that far removed from high school. You're always leery. This is a whole different level, obviously, in high school. But you're always leery of the guy that used to swing the bat on a regular basis. Look at that. Marquis on 4 pitches walks Kershaw. Where'd that come from?
I don't know. I mean, he's just been going at the strike zone the whole time. He ended up throwing the ball down and out of the zone each of the 4 pitches. Now you just regroup, step back off the mound, and that's where it's nice to have a veteran guy like Marquis that'll readjust the sights just a little bit and go after Pierre. The only problem, Pierre's got that good speed, tough man to double up.
Now 5 in a row out of the zone. Pierre struck out swinging on 3 pitches his first time. Juan looking down at Larry Boa. So Chris Iannetta is going to go out to the mound.
There's Bo. Pretty feisty player. I had him as a coach when I was in Anaheim.
A feisty manager too.
Well,
he's a feisty third base coach.
Yeah. But he brings a certain energy to a ball club each and every day. I mean, he's one of those guys that will get in your face and say, you know what, you need to get that bunt down. You need to make that play. He's old school.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
A lot of things about that old school that are pretty good.
That's real good. One of them is the fact that I don't like to lose.
Old school bubble there. 3-1. Marquis getting frustrated. I don't know if he's getting frustrated with himself or maybe he feels that he got squeezed on a pitch or two by Barksdale.
Well, I think this pitch and the very first pitch that he threw to Juan, he thought both of them. You could see the way he kind of hesitated for a second.
And it's ball 4. Back-to-back walks. If you watch Marquis on the mound, he takes a step forward after every pitch. He goes, "Give me the baseball." I mean, he wants to rock. He wants to compete. He's not out on the mound taking a stroll around and seeing the different parts of the dirt. He gets right back on the rubber.
He does, and that's good guy to play behind because you want to make sure when he's ready to go, you're ready to go. Not a lot of time to think in between pitches.
Orlando Hudson, and that misses.
Boy, after the first couple innings, the way he just attacked the strike zone, now to come out in the third. And
if it was possible, you almost felt like maybe he's throwing too many strikes in the first couple of innings. Obviously, there was no damage done.
Hudson might bunt again.
Oh, they got a man picked off. Kershaw. That's a nice tag by Tulowitzki. He went between his leg. Iannetta had Kershaw off the bag by about 40 feet. He had to wait till Tulowitzki got there. Watch again.
Double pumps right there. That's what caused him to get back there. But what a tag. I mean, you get the tag between the legs. Sometimes you just do what you have to do as a shortstop. You know where you are on the base. He catches it. And that play was pretty darn close from that angle.
Ground ball, deep short. Chance for 2. There's 1 on the first. Double play. 6-4-3. The Rockies double up Juan Pierre.
It just doesn't get any more pretty than that play right there. The old 6-4 to 3 double play, but the way the guys turned it.
Yeah, and let me say, Juan Pierre's the lead runner on that. Orlando Hudson's the trail runner, but still, you had to be quick on both ends.
Notice the quickness from Clint Barmas. I mean, Tulo gets the ball, a strong throw, but then the way he's able to clear himself, come off the bag, and make the throw and not worry about that guy sliding in. I mean, the transfer from the glove to the hand was phenomenal.
Ethier center field, and this one's going to die in the glove of Dexter Fowler.
What a job.
2 walks to lead off the inning. No harm done. Well done, you're right, by Jason Marquis. For the Rockies against Clayton Kershaw. Rockies will have Ionetta Barmas and Marquis here in the 3rd. Let's check this date in history, brought to you by Dex. Well, April 26, 1995, this magnificent ballpark known as Coors Field opens in dramatic fashion as Dante Bichette hits a 3-run game-winning homer in the 14th to beat the New York Mets. And it was the first baseball-only ballpark in the National League in 23 years. Final score that day, 11-9. I remember it.
Oh, yeah.
Always remember it fondly, but I remember it like it was yesterday. And now Coors Field, after Coors Field, has been a great run on baseball-only parks. We said this a few times, but when the Marlins get their park built on the old side of the Orange Bowl in the next couple of years, the Rockies and Coors Field will be the 3rd oldest park in the National League, behind Wrigley Field and Dodger Stadium. Ionetta turns one and bounces it off the Dodger dugout. 1 ball, 1 strike.
But still, you come to Coors Field, though, it looks like it's brand new. Just the maintenance and the way everybody keeps this ballpark looking pristine and clean. Doesn't get any better than that.
Curveball's high, 2-1. Boy, if you're going to throw 94, 95 on the black, that's going to make it real difficult. Fortunately, that was a little bit off the outside corner. 3-2 on Ionetta. Leading off in the 3rd. Rockies looking for their first base runner. That's a nice job there of hitting, just to waste that pitch.
Teachers, bring your students and join Steve Spangler and Kathy Saban from 9 News and Dinger for a great educational opportunity before the game on Thursday, May 7th. There's lots of cool science prizes and even a world record in science experiment. Teachers, register your class by calling 303 Rockies before April 28th to be a part of this special day.
good eye.
Yeah.
That's a real good at bat by Iannetta. He found off a couple of very difficult 3-2 offerings, and the Rockies have their first base runner. And that'll bring up Clint Barmas.
Was a hitter going into this game. You know you're going to get just a couple different options. We've seen the big curveball and the fastball. Have not seen that changeup that he's been working on.
And the other thing is, at least Pattern, first time through, he does not throw the breaking ball until he's ahead in the count. This ball hit to deep left field, way back. Rock here, looking up. See you later. 2-run home run, Clint Barmas. He sat on a heater. That's what you do sometimes, isn't it, Jeff?
Yeah.
You're down in the lineup, you study the pattern of pitches.
Just to the point that you made right before he hit that home run. That's what you do. You study it and you say, okay, he is not throwing a first pitch breaking pitch. I'm going to go ahead and just jump on this fastball. And we've already said, hey, where don't you throw Clint Barmas with the fastball? How many times have you seen it where they try to come in with those quick hands, and that's where he hits the ball? The best is right there on the inside part of the plate.
And for just the second time in the last 8 ball games for the Rockies, Colorado scores first.
But just the feeling that you get is just so much more different. You get a little extra bounce in your step. You're feeling better about yourself. Your club's feeling good.
You got a guy out there pitching well. Marquis with a 2-strike count.
Let's take a look one more time from the Hyundai cam. Just a straight 4-seamer. It doesn't get any more belt high than that pitch. When you talk about a belt high fastball, well, that's what it is, and that's what happens.
Kershaw strikes out Marquis. 3rd strikeout for Clayton, and that'll bring up Dexter Fowler.
It was also nice to get some of that production from the bottom part of the lineup.
Second home run in the series for Barmas. Both 2-run shots. And this ball is lashed to left field. Pierre can't get it. Fowler with the looping stride will have an easy double. Love more and more every day.
Don't you though? I mean, when you think about Dexter from the right side, the one area that he can't handle the baseball is up in the zone. And he just pulls those hands in. That's the classic definition. Notice how close his hands were to his chest when he goes to swing at that ball. That's pulling your hands in so you can get the barrel to the baseball.
Now with 1 out, Troy Tulowitzki, who struck out his first time on a 3-2 pitch. You got a lefty out there, Huey. You were a very good base stealer. This is not a bad time for Fowler to try to swipe third.
Well, and they have a blind spot. Lefties have a blind spot. When they come up, you can get a little bit further off. That's why Orlando Hudson's holding him a little bit closer at second base.
And for the first time in the ball game, he went soft on a first pitch. After the last 2 fastballs got tatered.
And that's why. I mean, Russell Martin's starting to be a veteran guy behind the plate, too. He's realized, you know what, these guys are starting to jump on that first pitch fastball. I got to throw something else. But not able to throw it for a strike behind already 1-0.
And 2-0. Good eye by Tulowitzki. One area you have to compliment Troy on during this rough period. 0 for his last 17 at the plate. He's taken pitches because he's walked a fair amount.
Well, that just shows me that he's real close to breaking out of it. You know, a guy that's in a big slump, he's not going to be as patient. He wants to get the at bat over with.
3-0.
But he's taking enough pitches. He's seeing enough pitches that all it's going to take is for that one ball to fall in. You get jammed, you bloop it over the infielder's head. Next thing you know, you're off to the races.
In 08, he walked every 10.5 at bats. This year, he's walking every 5 at bats. He's taken all the way, 3-1.
He's just seeing more pitches per plate appearance, too. And that's the other thing that's, and there's a graphic to back it up. He's 4, and then you get 4 or 5 at bats a game. Now you're seeing 20 pitches or so. It'll pay dividends.
Hudson sneaking in there.
That was a time pickoff play. Those are all the things you work on during spring training.
1,000, 2,000 to go.
Exactly. As soon as he looks back there and starts to take his head back towards the plate, that's when you know as a second baseman, I'm going to break in there, and it's all about timing. I always thought, I mean, maybe not in a 3-1 count, but after they try a pickoff like that, they very rarely would come back with it again. I'd look to go.
Dexter's going. You were right on it. That's why we have you up here.
Well, yeah. I mean, but that's the way it is. Pitchers are creatures of habit, just like anybody else. And they don't like to, once they try to pick off at second base, they'll do it a few more times over at first, but second, they feel real uneasy about throwing back there a second time because they're afraid, you know what, I might throw it into center field.
He's going again. Outside, throw to third is in time. And Blake DeWitt was jogging off the field. Somebody yelled to him and reminded him there's 2 outs.
Well, he just didn't get a very good jump. That was a problem with that one. He was from a standstill. He didn't have the walking lead where he had a little bit of momentum to go there, and the throw from Russell Martin just leads Blake DeWitt right into the tag.
That's the first time Dexter has been caught. He's 4 for 5 now.
And that's the one, as a coach, you just go to him and say, you know what, I understand why you tried to steal that base. You just got to make sure you have a little bit more of a walking lead, a little bit of momentum going towards third base before you try to steal it.
You know, for those at home saying, what do you mean? Why are they talking to him? Didn't he get the steal sign? Dexter has a green light unless he gets a stop sign.
Right.
And what we mean by that is there's a signal saying do not run on this pitch.
Yeah, I mean, don't go at all. We don't want you to try to steal. But that's all part of the learning process that he has to go through and understand the different ways you steal. Because stealing second or stealing third, they're two different animals. At first you go from the standstill and you go, but third you have to have a walking lead because it's a shorter throw for the catcher.
Here's the 1-0 to Spilborghs, and this ball's hit high and deep left center field. Pierre going back to the wall. This one's gone as well. First home run of the year for Ryan Spilborghs. It's 4-0. Well, Spilly hit it to Spilly.
How about that? You bring your glove, you bring your jersey, and the guy that is on the back of your jersey hits you one. I mean, these are just 2 balls now that Clayton Kershaw is left up in the zone, and Ryan just deposited in left center field.
And he's learning that at this level, guys catch up to 95.
They do. And you might get away with it at the AAA level, but you got to be able to locate. And so far made a couple mistakes, and the Rockies have made it pay for it.
Blake DeWitt scrambles to his feet. Wild throw. Atkins is aboard. "4-0 Colorado." Ryan Spilborghs got a fastball out over the plate.
Oh, notice the extension from the arms. We talked about Dexter Fowler just a few minutes ago, how he had to pull his hands in to get that fastball down the left field line. Well, that was the exact opposite. The extension that Ryan got to get to that baseball and then drive it out. The difference where Dexter hit his down the left field line and then Spilly in the left center field gap.
And Atkins gets an infield hit out of the deal. By the way, that was the first home run for Spilly since July 2nd of last year, or excuse me, July 4th of last year when he hit 2. Keep in mind, he missed a good portion of the second half of the season with the oblique strain. Brad Hopp at the plate. And Brad slices one into the seats. It's a 2-strike count. Rockies did not reach in the first 2 innings. against Clayton Kershaw. In this inning, they have 4 runs and 4 hits, including 2 big flies.
Got it.
Oh, wow. Atkins caught napping because obviously Garrett's not going anywhere.
No.
He gets picked off in the inning, though. Clint Barmas goes deep. 3rd of the year, and then Ryan Spilborghs with his first 4-0 Rockies.
A 4-0 Rockies over the Dodgers as we head to the top of the 4th inning. It's time now for our Aflac trivia question. And the question is, Scott Elbert of the Dodgers earned his first major league win, first hit, and first RBI in the same game this season. He's the only one to do it so far this season. 2 Rockies have done it in the same game. Who are they and when, guys?
That's hard to do.
It is very hard to do.
That's going Little League.
Yeah. There's one that had never happened before. That's a little hint for one. The other one, I read the answer, I didn't remember. But that was a pretty remarkable ball game also that Alon will tell you about a little bit later on. Here's James Loney. Rockies now up 4-0. That is on the outside corner for a strike. Loney had a sharp single to right after Andre Ethier had singled. 2 on, 2 outs in the first, and then Marquis got Russell Martin to ground out to Clint Barmas. Jason Marquis is a supremely confident guy. 30-year-old. Late this season he'll turn 31. That was close. 2-1. We've talked a lot in his first few starts as folks get to know him in the Rocky Mountain region about his athletic ability and what an accomplished hitter he is. He was a tremendous point guard in high school. On the ground, broken back. Jeff Baker over to Garrett Atkins, 1 out.
A heavy sink on that baseball. Get Loney hit it right off the end of the bat.
That's one of the things I really like about the composition of the Colorado Rockies, Jeff. And you were a very good athlete. You were a very good basketball player. Anybody who plays at this level obviously is a good athlete, but sometimes they're guys who are just really, really good. Maybe at throwing the baseball, they become a pitcher and may not be a real good athlete, so to speak. Tulowitzki, great athlete. And so, you go around the diamond. Jeff Baker is a good athlete. Tulowitzki was one of the top high school basketball players in Northern California. Clint Barmas went to college initially as a basketball player. You go to the outfield and you look at Dexter Fowler. He could have gone to Harvard and played basketball. Ryan Spilborghs, I've watched him catch a football with Matt Holliday. He's a tremendous athlete.
Well, and that's what's fun. I mean, when you got guys that are good athletes, because then that way you can do a lot more things. I mean, you can put them in different spots. You can rotate them. You can play them at shortstop, go to second base, third base, outfield, first base. I mean, there's so many more options you have as a manager instead of just slotting a guy in, saying, you know what, this is where he has to play today, and that's the only place he can go.
2 outs and a 2-0 count on Matt Kemp. And Garrett Atkins, who we showed a shot of a moment ago. Garrett's a very good basketball player also.
Yep.
Chop foul, 2-1.
Marquis rebounded after, I mean, not giving up any runs last inning was amazing. Give up a couple walks to start with, but through 9 balls and only 3 strikes, but able to get out of a double play. Right back on task now with the pound in the strike zone.
Baker has to retreat a little bit and cross the diamond to get Kemp. 3 ground ball outs in a very quick and efficient inning for Jason Marquis. Rockies up 4-0. Back to Coors Field in a moment. To Travel is brought to you by AAA. Ryan Spilborn sent it 407 feet. 2-run home run after Clint Barmas sent a baseball close to 400 feet in a very productive 3rd inning for the Rockies. They lead 4-0. Along with Jeff Houston and Alana Rizzo, I'm Drew Goodman. Brad Hopp will continue his at bat. He gets to start anew. He was behind 0-2 when Garrett Atkins was picked off. Clayton Kershaw rubs him off the plate.
Little chin music. Not intentional.
No, it was intentional.
Giving the pitcher the benefit of the doubt. Very rarely do I say that.
And the curveball misses. 2-0. Brad hit a curveball sharply at James Loney his first time. Sitting on the fastball.
Yep.
And a foul tip.
One area that Kershaw has had success this year is against lefties. Lefties 0 for 9 so far. It just shows you that opposing managers don't put too many of those guys in there.
And Brad with another base hit. This one toward the gap. See if Hop can get 2 out of it. He's going to take a wide turn. And Ethier, who has been very impressive with the bat all season. And in this series, he's been very impressive with the glove.
Well, yeah, as we saw him last night, run down a couple balls into the right center field gap, one over towards the line. But I think Orlando Hudson barely got a piece of this ball to keep it going all the way to the wall. And that's exactly what happened. Just tipped it enough to slow it down to allow Ethier to get over there and cut it off.
Now, Bradley, I think it's appropriate. First hit that the lefty Kershaw's given up. Brad gets it. Brad's hitting .333 against lefties this year. This one is hit hard by Bake. Unfortunately, right at Orlando Hudson. So it turns into a 4-6-3 double play.
Just can't hit that ball any harder.
2 outs. That'll bring up Chris Iannetta. There is our location from right field. So we wave to right field. Yeah, you see Doug Marino. Doug is the brains behind the operation, as we often describe. But Doug,
there.
you know, we give him a lot of credit for all the research he does and what a great baseball fan he is, and a baseball historian. However, Dougie is not as sharp as we originally thought.
He's not?
No, because in his rotisserie league, or they call it fantasy.
Fantasy,
league, right?
You know,
yeah.
Rotisserie's old school.
He had 2 pitchers going today. Oliver Perez.
Right.
And Kawakami, the 33-year-old rookie in Atlanta.
Come on, Doug.
Let me give you the lines. All right. Oliver Perez, 4 1/3 today, 9 hits, 7 runs. Yeah, not good, huh, Dougie? Kawakami, he lasted longer than Perez, 4 2/3, 8 hits, 8 runs.
Not good.
Not good.
No.
It's going to be a bad day for his fantasy team. He should have taken Marquis.
He should have. Come on,
Didn't
Doug.
have that option, did you? Marquis not on his squad. Bad draft.
Well, that just goes to show you the guy at the top.
Basically, the next time Dougie hands you something,
be skeptical.
Be very skeptical.
Okay. Boy, that just
blew him up.
Yeah, it really did. I had these high praises. I mean, I really had you up there, Doug, and now you disappoint me.
Iannetta covers that. That was the first changeup I think we've seen.
Very first. Well, bottom of the 4th inning with 2 outs.
Held up. Chris walked and scored last inning on the Barmes home run. 2-run home runs by Barmes and Spilborghs. And this ball is in the air to left center field. Juan Pierre holds out his glove, but he'll give way to the center fielder, Matt Kemp. 2 center fielders out there. Turns into a 1-2-3 inning despite the Brad Hopp hit. FSN is brought to you by your Colorado Hyundai dealers. Buy any new Hyundai and get up to $5,500 in savings. America's best warranty and the Hyundai Assurance Plan. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 800-947-AUTO. By Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. And by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Top of the 5th inning, the Rockies leading 4-0. Blake DeWitt against Jason Marquis, and the fastball is down low. DeWitt a fly ball to center field, his first time. DeWitt has already been up and down once between Albuquerque and Los Angeles. Last year he had a very fine rookie season. the top 5 in most offensive categories for rookies in the National League. Tied for 4th in RBIs with 52, 3rd in average at 264.
I've played a couple different positions too. I played third base, second base.
Actually had a big league start at shortstop early on last year against the Padres. His first start at third base came after he had started at shortstop, and his first start at third base was against the Rockies.
Right. A lot of first.
A lot of firsts. Got a first in his first at bat. He got a hit. Came off Barry Zito. And this is a broken bat roller to Tulowitzki, who does that as well as any shortstop in the game. Let's say hello again to Alana Rizzo with 1 out. Alana?
Next trivia question, guys. And first, let me ask the question again. Scott Albert of the Dodgers earned his first career win, hit, and RBI in the same game. The only one to do it so far this season. There are 2 Rockies that have done that. Who are they? Say that again?
I'm thinking.
Oh, okay, sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, that's right. Well, that's
didn't say
I didn't say that. I wasn't thinking out loud. I'm sorry, Alana.
Well, the easy one is Jason Jennings.
Correct.
I was
Jason
there.
Jennings back in August of 2001.
I had that one.
That was at Shea Stadium. It was the most amazing Little League performance going. A complete game in his major league debut. Complete game shutout, and he hits a home run.
All right. What about the second guy? It was earlier than 2001. I can tell you that.
Right. The second guy is the redhead.
Okay.
John Thompson.
Very good.
Oh.
Drew, I can't catch you. All right, that was back in June of 1997 when John Thompson did it. But you know what? There's somebody else in this ballpark that has done it as well, but not as a Rocky. You guys have any idea on that one?
I'll say Marquis.
No, that's a good guess, but it was actually Jason Hamill when he was with Tampa Bay.
Jason Hamill, who will start tomorrow for the
That's
Rockies.
right. He gets the start tomorrow, guys. Back to you.
How about Alana? Thank you. How about that performance by Thompson? Not only gets first big league win, first big league hit, and RBI, he goes 4 for 4.
Doesn't get any more Little League than that.
We don't even have to ask Doug to check. That was the only 4-hit game of Thompson's career. Got it.
So you're going to trust Doug now?
I'm not even going to make him check. There's no way he had 2 4-hit games. Swung on and missed. Another strikeout for Marquis. Say goodnight to Juan Castro. 2 gone, and here comes Clayton Kershaw.
One of the handful of sliders that Marquis has thrown today from the Hyundai Cam. The rotation and the dive at the last second. We saw that similar type of swing off the bat of Garrett Atkins, really out on the front side that time to Castro.
1-0 on Kershaw, who has yet to see a strike. He swings at the first strike he sees, bounces to second base. 8 in a row set down now by Jason Marquis. Middle of 5. Rockies 4, Dodgers nothing. Brought to you by E470 and Express Toll, the best way to save time and money. Padres are in tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon. All the ball games right here on FSN Rocky Mountain, and then it's off to San Francisco later in the week. Chris Young will be on the hill tomorrow for San Diego. So it's back-to-back Highland Park High School kids. Highland Park High School outside of Dallas. That's where Clayton Kershaw graduated from, and also Chris Young. And we started to talk about earlier all the famous alum from that high school, and also Chris Young. But Chris Young does help Kershaw and has helped him in the past in the offseason. There's a bunt by Barnes. Off the bag. No. On the bag. That may get Clint Hurdle out of the dugout. Let's see.
No argument from Clint Barnes, but what?
Yeah, maybe he stayed on the bag. James Loney with a nice pickup.
What feed from Loney. Yeah, I mean, you talk about first baseman sometimes. The bunt down the line needs to be towards the line a little bit more, but Kershaw plants and throws, but Loney's able to stay on the bag with his foot. It's like a ballerina over there. You just have to be able to move and have cat-like reflexes.
And you know, a great call by James Hoyt. Marquis slices one left center field. And he keeps that 500 average. He had a 500 average coming in. He's 1 for 2.
And then think about the hits now. 2 of them have been from left-handed hitters.
That's right.
You look at Kershaw, he's been 0 for 9. Lefties have been 0 for 9 against him prior to Brad Hopp's base hit, and now Jason Marquis. Hey, Rockies fans, Colorado Rockies dugout stores are your place for all things Rockies. From tickets to Rockies apparel, we have something for every Rockies fan in the family. Stop by today and ask about our exclusive ticket promotion and our autographed baseball gift with a special purchase. Call 303-832-TEAM for the locations of any of the 5 stores. Don't forget, Rockies dugout stores.
Play behind Marquis. First pitch to Fowler's outside, ball 1. 1 out, 1 on. Rockies up 4-0 as they hit in the 5th inning. Rockies pitchers now 9 for 28 this year, 321 batting average. 4 of the 9 hits authored by Jason Marquis.
I'd be surprised though if they might try to take off and try to steal a base if they're playing behind him.
Do you know what? Honestly, I know you're saying that sincerely.
Yes.
Because that's the kind of guy Marquis is. He plays every aspect of the game. You see the best batting average among pitchers. Well, they got the 296. Dougie's got 321 up there. I'm going with Doug because Doug's never wrong. 2-0. Anyhow, either way, it's a good number.
It's a good number.
Line drive to right, base hit. Marquis cutting the bag at second. He's going to test the arm with Ethier. And he's in there safely. First to third by Jason Marquis on a line single by Dexter Fowler. His second knock of the ball game.
And what you're going to see now is Clint Hurdle come out and say, you know what, there was a little interference between James Loney and Dexter Fowler running around first base. This is what this argument's about. First base coach umpire James Hoy is saying, no, I don't think so. But Dexter with the base hit to right field. He had taken the fastball in his second time up, hit it to left. As Marquis goes all the way into third base, Dexter runs right around there and has to move out of the way of the first baseman, James Loney.
Big time speed at first. First and third, Tulowitzki. No movement, and the curveball is in there for a strike. The only thing that complicates this situation from a running standpoint is it's always so much more difficult to read the move of a lefty.
No, it is, and we've already seen Kershaw pick one guy off already. But if that is the case, then you look at just go ahead and try to steal the base, get down there. Marquis, good athlete, could steal home on a possible double steal.
No movement. Down low, 1-1.
But thinking back to Marquis just for a second, I mean, how many pitchers do we know that would try to go first to third on a ball that's hit to right field? I mean, now right out of the gate, he was thinking, I'm going to third. A lot of times pitchers will just jog around second base and just stay there.
No, he's about playing baseball.
Well, he is. I mean, that goes to my point I was making. Don't be surprised they play behind him if he try to steal, but I mean, he's going the whole way. Cuts the bag just like you want. Nice slide. Got the dual batting gloves on. Do you protect those hands?
Little pop-up slide.
That's fun to watch.
He's a ball player.
Yep.
Swung out and missed. 1-2. You know that old line used to tell the pitcher, you know, he's a good athlete. Say, hey, you don't worry about. You just worry about pitching today. You don't worry about, don't worry about the offense. Don't worry about anything else. You worry about pitching. Jason Marquis, he worries about everything he's doing at that time.
Well,
he wants to have a good at bat. He wants to run the bases properly.
Well, and what it does is it just elevates the rest of the pitchers on the staff because, hey, I want to be like him. I want to help my ball club a chance to win.
Good point. It's inside. 2-2.
You know, you think about a guy like Marquis or Aaron Cook that can handle the bat. What does it allow you to do as a manager? Keep him in the ball game just a little bit longer. You don't have to worry about pinch hitting for him.
Yeah. This is one of those situations the Rockies worked a lot on during spring training. Tulo's got to try to get it in play.
Yep.
Got a tough arm out there, a guy that produces a lot of strikeouts. One out, runners at first and third. And didn't work out. Now there are 2 outs. It'll be left to Spilborghs, who had a 2-run jack his last time up. Here's the big fly back at the third. 407-foot blast, first of the year for Spilly. The guy with the Spilborghs jersey, appropriately enough, comes up with the rock. See if Dexter takes off here. That's what Kershaw is thinking.
That's what Joe Torre was thinking too.
That came from the dugout.
Well,
didn't it?
yeah, and Joe's the guy over there. A lot of times you'll see the bench coach give the signs to the catcher, but it's Joe Torre. He's going through the signs to relay him to Russell Martin right now, telling him what he wants the pitcher to do in Kershaw.
This ball ripped to left, get down. It will in front of Pierre. 5-0 as Marquis scores. Ryan Spilborghs looking like he's locked in again. Boy, Marquis making it happen on both ends.
Right, and then you get the 2-out hit. You touched on it earlier in the broadcast about Ryan just not being quite aggressive enough earlier last week, and this time he jumps on that fastball and hits it to left field. 2-out base hit. So you pick up your teammates. That's what it's about. Troy struck out, but Ryan says, I got your back.
Now Garrett Atkins at the plate. 1-0. Spilly with a 3 RBI ball game. 9 ribbies for Ryan. Next pitch will be the 80th for Kershaw. In the dirt, Fowler's going to move up. So will Spilborghs.
Textbook.
Great read.
I mean, that's just textbook. You see the ball down out of the hand and then realize where it goes in front of Martin, and knowing that the only way he can get to it is to have to go through Garrett Atkins. Well, Garrett can stay there. He doesn't have to move because he doesn't know where the catcher's going to go. So he just stays there. Notice how Russell had to go out and around him to allow Dexter to get to third base.
Scott Elbert throwing. He was mentioned earlier by Alana, part of our Affleck trivia question, former #1 pick. And the intentional walk now to Atkins will load the bases for Brad Hopp. For Kershaw and Rick Honeycutt, Joe Torre, they want to go left on left, except Hopp had a sharp single his last time up. While they get together at the mat, we'll tell you that if your windshield is chipped or cracked, don't wait. Call Colorado's #1 team, Elite Safe Light Auto Glass, 303-287-5000. Online, safelight.com. The Rockies today, against a high-quality starter in terms of stuff, I know he's 21, have swung the bats like they did the opening 3 days in Arizona.
Well, they have. To me, it goes back to being a little bit more aggressive towards the fastball. They've gone after that. They've looked for that pitch. You know what? The big curveball is a tough one to hit. I'm going to try to hunt that fastball and go after it, and that's what they've done today. And that's where they're getting their hits. It hasn't been on the breaking pitch. It's been on the fastball.
Rockies can put up a crooked number here with a knock. Brad Hop, like any hitter in this situation, bases loaded. Kershaw on the precipice of perhaps being out of the ball game is going to sit dead red. And he fouled off the fastball. It's 0-1.
It goes back to the theory. You go ahead and you get aggressive in this situation when you see the fastball out of the hand.
Brad 4 for 6 this year. 2 outs, runners in scoring position. Two-strike count on another guy from the metroplex of Dallas and Fort Worth. We're out on the Fort Worth side.
Throwing 2 fastballs. I wouldn't be surprised if they go that big hook. Try to work away.
They went fastball and it's fouled off. Now Russell Martin will hand deliver the baseball to Clayton Kershaw.
That's that fine line. You want to try to work the ball up on an 0-2 count, but the 2 balls that he's left up so far in this ball game have been hit out of the park.
Dexter Fowler a single. He's at third. Ryan Spilborgh's an RBI single at second. Garrett Atkins an intentional pass. 0-2. Bases loaded. 2 outs.
Boy, good eye.
Brad's in a real good place offensively.
Taking that pitch right there lets you know that he is.
That's a good job by Martin. 2-2.
Well, Dexter had a nice read off of third base. If he doesn't block that and it gets away from him a little bit, Dexter was about a third of the way down the line. And Dexter can get off as far as the third baseman. Blake DeWitt is over at third base, and third baseman. He's pulled over in the hole. That allows you to get a little bit bigger lead.
Three and 2. Now, how tough is that, Huey, on a third base coach when you're the traffic cop, not only helping Dexter with his read of the third baseman, but you got a runner at second?
It's very difficult because you got to look at the third baseman first because he's the one closest to you, but he also has out of the corner of his eye the ability to see the third baseman, so you really got to lock in at second base and Ryan Spilborgh's so he doesn't get picked.
Here's the 3-2. High ball 4. Brad Hop forces in a run after being behind 0-2 with the walk to first. It is 6-0 Colorado, and that is all for Clayton Kershaw.
How about that at bat for Brad?
Another A+ at bat for Brad Hop. Fowler getting high fives all around. 6-0 Colorado. Kershaw retired the first 6 hitters of the ball game, and then the Rockies got after him, forced. They've got 2 here in the 5th, and perhaps they are not done. Tonight at 10, it is Rockies Weekly, a show that goes deeper than just highlights, with an exclusive interview each week with the manager, Clint Hurdle, latest news and analysis on the ball club. That's Rockies Weekly, Sunday nights, right here on FSN Rocky Mountain, 10 p.m. in the Mountain Time Zone. Bases remain loaded. Another left-hander out there, Scott Elbert, who the Rockies saw last Saturday, ended up getting a win, actually last Sunday, in a 14-2 ball game. He went 2 2/3, gave up 3 hits and a couple of runs. Jeff Baker, 0 for 2 in the game, and we hit the ball sharply his last time up. Turned into a 4-6-3 double play.
Blake's due.
He is due.
He is. I mean, you think about the 20 at bats now, 21 at bats, and he's hit the ball hard, in my estimation, in that probably about 8 times. 8 out of those 21 at bats, and there's very, very little to show for it.
One of the things he does when he's not playing, and those at bats are sporadic, he goes in the tunnel and he takes hard BP, not 55, 60 mile an hour BP. I mean, he's hard.
Well, you got to train those eyes and those hands.
So he's close to game ready. As long as the 2-0 missed, it's 2-1. Rockies this year with the bases loaded, 5 for 13. That'll work. Spilly, Atkins, and Hop aboard. 6-0 Colorado. Two and 2.
It does help for these guys. You follow up a lefty with another lefty if he's coming from the same arm slot as a hitter.
This ball driven to center field. Matt Kemp misjudges it, reaches up, can't get it. It's going to roll all the way to the wall. 3 runs will score. Baker heading to third. Rockies lead it 9-0. You can tell off the bat that Matt Kemp didn't judge it properly.
He did not see it at all. And I think the power of Jeff Baker shouldn't surprise him, but it did. I think he was right on that, and Kemp, being the center fielder, that's the angle. When you look at it, you just don't get the read. Kemp stays there just for a second and understands, oh, I'm in trouble now, and tries to just backpedal, but it's now a triple for Jeff Baker, and rightfully so.
Absolutely. His first 3 RBIs of the season. Chris Iannetta, the 9th man to hit in the inning. All 3 of those runs charged to Kershaw, so he gives up 9 and 4 2/3. That is not pretty on the old ERA. To your point a moment ago on Jeff Baker, sometimes you got to look inside the numbers, and if you just read a box score, you see an 0 for, and Jeff with just a hit coming into the ball game, but a lot of loud outs.
There have been. Even the double play he hit into earlier was a smash right out of Orlando Hudson. He just had a good feeling the way he was been swinging the bat during batting practice, and during the limited number of at bats he's gotten during the game. He just felt like he was just one click away from doing it, and that's what happened. Yeah.
And you got one guy on the hill and one guy in the background of the dugout who just can't bear to watch anymore. 2 and 2 as the breaking pitch is in there to Iannetta.
There's Clayton Kershaw with his head down.
Rockies now 6 for 14 with the bases jammed. Shattered bat, slow roller, and Hudson with the bare hand is going to make the play. And the Rockies finally retired in the 5th, but oh, what a productive 5th inning. 5 runs come around for Colorado. Jeff Baker with a 3-run triple. Need of the quote-unquote laugher, and so far so good. They're up 9-0. Jeff Baker among many today who have produced offensively. Jason Marquis has been sensational. Rockies with 9 runs. Hey, they're over the limit. All you needed was 7. Taco Bell tomorrow, the place to go for a little early dinner between 4 and 6 in the late afternoon. 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a drink. That is a steal. Juan Pierre 0 for 1 and a walk. Gets a changeup. Did a changeup or just
hard
a sinker? Yeah.
Hard sinker.
Here's the 0-1. Outside 1-1. Juan Pierre made 316 starts in center field with Colorado. That is more than anybody else. Line drive, base hit for Pierre. Third hit, just the third hit for the Dodgers. Rockies have 9. And again, we check in with Alana Rizzo. Alana?
Thanks very much, Drew. I have some very special guests with me that you met earlier in the booth. It's David Sosa and his son David Jr. And this is part of FSN Rocky Mountain. Every Sunday home game, we're teaming up with ColoradoDads.com to kind of share the baseball. It's called Be There for Your Kids Baseball Experience. Want to make sure I get that right. And David has a question for you, Drew, and for Jeff. It's right here. Who was the Rockies' first ever draft pick? And we can actually look over to our right and wave to you guys as Drew and Jeff possibly answered that question. But to learn more about the baseball experience, go to ColoradoDads.com. Drew?
Oh, he was a Colorado native.
Yep.
John Burke, big right-handed pitcher. How'd we do, Alana? Did we get it right, Huey, or did I mess that up?
I think it's David Need, isn't it?
No, I thought Need was supplemental. First draft pick I thought was Burke.
Oh, yeah.
Need was taken in the supplemental draft, in the expansion draft. I should say supplemental draft. In the expansion draft.
I was saying the expansion draft.
Yeah, I was thinking the regular June draft. And I think Burke was in the June draft. We're both right.
Good.
Which is unusual. It's usually unusual for either one of us to be right.
Right.
3-0 on Hudson, ball 4. So Marquis now with 2 aboard and nobody out as Andre Ethier comes up. Ethier single and a fly ball to center field. On the corner for a strike. Dodgers are in a busy place in their schedule. This is game 6 of 20 in a row. They go from Colorado after the game to San Francisco to see their old friends, the Giants. And I'll tell you what, the way they are playing, you hope they cool off, because after San Francisco, they go home where they're 6-0 for an 11-game homestand. It's their longest of the year. That's a strike.
And only 2 games outside of the division. Right? They got San Diego, Arizona. Washington just comes in for a 2-game set, and then
and Washington's a miserable team right now.
They're really bad.
Right, and so
and then finish up with San Francisco again.
Yeah, and if they don't cool off, they could really create some separation in this division. That misses. It's 2-2. Dodgers 13-5, leading the division by 2.5 games on the Padres at the beginning of play today. Marquis has been very efficient. Looking up on the scoreboard, 68 pitches in the 6th inning.
Really only had that 1 inning back in the 3rd where he lost command of the zone a little bit, was able to get out of it with the double play. Oh,
3-2. In the air, center field, well hit. Fowler will get back there and make the catch by running to a spot. One out. That'll bring up James Loney. We want to pass along good wishes to one of our brethren in the business, longtime Dodger high home camera operator Rob Menchel. Not feeling well Friday after the ball game. He's been hospitalized here in Denver and continues to stay in the hospital, and we wish him all of the best, a quick recovery. Of course, Robbie watching today from his room. Get back out behind the camera quickly.
Get well soon.
One out. James Loney coming up. And one thing about this business, Jeff, you found this out the last few years, making the conversion from your playing career, your coaching career to the booth. You become very close with the people you work with.
Family.
And travel with. Yeah,
your
absolutely.
Family is just an extension of your friends and your family. And you become close to those people, and best wishes.
1-0 on James Loney. It's beginning to sprinkle out. Two balls, no strikes on Loney. Rockies trying to knock off the Dodgers for the first time this year. They're 0 for 5. That's how they started last year against LA. That's a strike.
Just take a little bit of pride back too. It's like they're getting sand kicked in your face at the beach. You gotta recapture a little bit of it.
They actually, after losing their first 5 to the Dodgers last year, Clint Hurdle's club won 8 of the next 13. That's a strike.
Yep.
2-2.
Loney thought that pitch was low, but that had right at the knees.
The obligatory deep breath once you reach 2 strikes.
But it is. It just kind of relax you a little bit. Make sure you don't start gripping the bat too tight. Relax those hands so that your natural ability can take over. Get into double play.
Marquis runs full again, 3-2. Since August 30th of the last year, Dodgers own the best record in the game, 32-13. Loney learned the game from his dad, Marion, who was a college baseball player. And James lines one in the gap in right center field. There goes the shutout. Juan Pierre score. Orlando Hudson's going to get a green light. He will score. And Loney has a 2-run double. Second hit of the ball game. Loney's 12th and 13th RBIs of the year.
Marquis' intention here was to get the changeup. Notice the split grip. When he went to go throw that, that's trying to get the ball down and away. He just left it up, and that's allowed Loney to hit it into the gap. Trying to work it down to get him over the top of it, roll over on the ground ball. It just didn't happen. Red Hop able to get the ball back in. Unfortunately, 2 runs scored, but you kept Loney at second base.
1 out, Russell Martin at the plate. And Martin takes a strike. You know Loney reminds me of it, at least statistically, in playing the same position. Certainly not body type wise. That bounces up there. The mayor, Sean Casey, guy that's going to hit 10 to 15 home runs. Like, you know, and maybe Loney develops a little more power, but he's a gap to gap guy, tough out, doesn't strike out much.
That's a good comparison. Yeah, I mean, I really hadn't thought about Sean Casey, but you're right. Same type of guys that'll use the whole field to hit the ball to.
2-1.
Two left-handed hitters.
Yep. James long and lean. Sean stockier, shall we say.
Just let's say different body types.
Different body types. That catches the corner. It's 2-2. Many more deep counts this inning for Marquis than the first 5 innings. A couple of hits and a walk in the inning. Got Mark. That's a big punch out right there. 2 gone, and that'll bring up Matt Kemp.
Hard slider down and away. Monday Cam will show where this ball started and then ends up. And the thing that Russell Martin was trying to argue right at the end was he thought that ball had hit the dirt before it went into the glove of Chris Iannetta. That's what he's asking Lance Barksdale, the home plate umpire. That didn't happen.
Matt Kemp skies one to right center. Fowler and Hop and Brad. They nearly collided a few days ago. Brad gives way to Dexter. 2 runs in the inning for the Dodgers. 9-2 Colorado. Time for the Coors Light Freeze Cam. Freeze that. 2-run home run off the bat of Clint Barmes. That got the Rockies on the board. His 3rd of the year. And then a couple of doors down with another man on. It's Ryan Spilborghs with a 2-run shot of his own. His 1st of the year. And another number 19 with the baseball in deep left center field. That was the Frost Brewed Coors Light Freeze Cam. Drew Goodman, Jeff Houston, Alana Rizzo from Coors Field. Rockies enjoying a large lead against their nemesis so far in 09, the Dodgers. 9-2 is the count. 9 hits, just 4 for the Dodgers. Scott Elbert finished up the 5th inning. Tough outing for Clayton Kershaw. Back-to-back rough outings. He didn't get out of the 5th inning in Houston. Gave up 6 runs down there on 8 hits. Today, didn't get out of the 5th inning. Gave up 9 runs on 8 hits.
This goes back to the point of Kershaw not learning how to win out on the road. ERA, where it is out on the road, is going to go higher than the 5.6 that it started the ball game at.
1-0, Clint Barmes, and he smokes it back up the middle on a breaking pitch. Barmes with his 2nd knock of the day. The Rockies in double figures in hits as Jason Marquis comes up. Our out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by RE/MAX. Reach them online at RE/MAX.com. Phillies all over Florida, 13-2. I'm looking at the big board down below. We got the American League going. The Orioles, they're hanging in there this year.
Well, they are. Dave Tremblay.
Tough division, yeah. There's the bunt by Marquis. Jason makes it a close play at first. Look at that. You know what? He just ran an open 60-yard dash. You know, one of those open tryouts.
You know what? I'm disappointed I didn't have him on the clock.
That's wrong.
I know. I should know with Jason by this time how he's going to run hard. He runs all the way down there. But the most important thing, still a 9-2 ball game. Go ahead, get the bunt down.
You know, Orlando Hudson, who's a pro's pro at second base. You know, sometimes when you play second, you kind of cruise over there, the pitcher on the sack, and you better bust your butt and get there.
That's what he had to do.
You know, Dexter's had a good ball game. Now the wind is whipping the rain around the ballpark a little bit. Dexter 2 for 3, a double and a single. He has scored a run. He's got an RBI out there in Barmas.
What I like too is after he got the double to left field, you're thinking as a hitter and a young guy, okay, I'm gonna hit this one even harder. What did he do this last time up? Took the ball to right field.
This is his natural side, the right side. And you know what? That's a good swing there, because Huey, he let the ball get deep on him, and he worked with his, you guys like to say as hitters, worked with his hands inside the baseball.
Yeah, and not get out and around it. And what you do when you get out and around it, you don't hit the ball very hard, get the top half of the baseball, roll over onto a ground ball.
And fought off to right field for a base hit. Here's Barmas around third. It's kicked around by Ethier. It's an RBI hit for Fowler. And the Rockies are in double digits. 10-2 they lead. Dexter with a 3-hit ball game.
Allows him to drive in this run. Let's not forget about the sac bunt from Jason Marquis to get Clint Barmas into scoring position. Now fastball that's missed in location. We talk about pulling your hands in. Dexter did it on the one he pulled. This time he pulls his hands inside, hits the ball to right field.
I'll bring up Troy Tulowitzki. You know, I was chatting with Dexter in the clubhouse this morning. I said, "How you doing?" He goes, "Man, I feel awful." I said, "What's the matter?" He said, I got the flu." He said, "But I feel better today." And he didn't look great. He said, "But I feel better today than I did yesterday. Yesterday was pretty good, and today's been outstanding."
Well, sometimes when you go out up to hit or go to play a baseball game and you're not feeling your best, you're not really thinking. Does that make sense? I mean, you're not thinking about your swing. You're not thinking about all this other stuff. You're just thinking about, okay, how am I going to survive? I got to try to see the baseball and hit it, and that's the only thing you worry about.
Bring the Kleenex box up with you to the plate. Tulowitzki hits a high drive, deep right field. Did he get enough of it? Not quite. Ethier on the edge of the track makes the catch. And that is out number 2. By the way, for Dexter, the 3 hits, a career high in a ball game.
Well, good for him. Hey, fans are looking for that perfect place to entertain. Coors Field suites and party facilities and picnic area offer a unique atmosphere designed to fit any event and any budget. Be sure to ask about the buy one get one free offer. Call 303-312-2444 to reserve your game date today.
Spilly's got a couple of hits and 3 RBIs. With the Rockies up 8 runs here in the bottom of the 6th inning, Loney's going to play behind Fowler. And Fowler will not go anywhere in deference to the scoreboard.
Well, that's right. I mean, that's one of the things. You're already beating him 10-2. You don't want to rub it in anymore. Once they play back, then it's you call off the dogs, basically.
Yeah. So the number's always been different here at Coors Field because of the frequency that the scoreboard gets lit up. But it has changed the last few years with the humidor. Saw the Firestone League leaders a moment ago. Rockies near the top of the league in doubles and extra base hits. Well, they just got to start bunching some of those together and improve on the mound. They've gotten a good performance today from Jason Marquis again. Here's the 1-2 to Spilborghs, up high, 2-2 from Elbert. The 10 runs, by the way, matches a season high. They had 10 in their home opener, a big 10-3 victory over the Phillies. That's the only time they've had an opportunity to leave the ballpark with smiles on their faces.
They needed this in a big way, too.
This ball is hit well to right. Ethier with a good jump makes the catch. Man, he's had an impressive weekend of defense. Rockies get another run. Barmas a single. Fowler brought him around. 10-2. Time for the Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Jason Marquis. He's thrown a lot of strikes today, a lot of quality strikes. He started the game with a 3-pitch punch out of Juan Pierre, and he has rolled along as he begins work in the 7th inning. He's got his club up 10-2. And naturally, he has pitched in offensively as well with a base hit and a sacrifice. Nice acquisition by Dan O'Dowd, picking up the veteran Jason Marquis for Luis Vizcaíno during the offseason. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game. Here's Blake DeWitt, and he takes strike one. DeWitt 0 for 2, fly ball center field, and the bouncer to Troy Tulowitzki is short. Outside, 1-1 on DeWitt.
Pitcher spot a couple doors down from Blake DeWitt. Will Oman up and tossing now for the Dodgers on their bullpen.
Blake DeWitt's one of those guys, Huey, if not on the position-rich Dodgers. He's not a guy shuttling back and forth between AAA and the big leagues. This guy could play and start for a lot of clubs. Here's the 1-2. Ground ball to first, and it goes right through the wickets of Garrett Atkins. That'll be the second error on Garrett this year.
Just didn't keep his glove down. Plain and simple. I mean, he went to go try to feed the ball to Jason Marquis before he did the first thing. The most important thing is that's catch it. Trying to bend at the waist instead of bending at the knees. Slides over okay, but then those knees really get locked. Not a whole lot of bend and getting down and working underneath the baseball.
Juan Castro at the plate. He's 0 for 2. Fly ball and a strikeout. Right center field. Brad underneath, and Hunt makes the catch. One of the real enjoyable things about seeing the Dodgers is getting to visit with Joe Torre, and I know you and I both enjoy that immensely. Yesterday, I asked Joe his first time coming to Denver, and he said, you know, it was back when I was 10 or 11 to watch his brother Frank play for the Denver Bears. So he goes way back.
Yeah.
And he said, I also remember the first time I came to Denver as a player. And he had fond memories of watching his brother play in the Mile High City. He came in with the Louisville Cardinals, young guy hoping to make it maybe one day to the big leagues. He said, when I came here to Louisville, he said, I figured this may be the the biggest city I get to play in. He said, you know, I had a really good day, though, that first day swinging the bat for Louisville. And of course, he went on to a great, not just a great major league career. He also related a story about when he came to Denver in '94 as the manager of the Cardinals. He said he looked out there and saw Bichette, Galarraga, and as they were preparing for the 4-game series, he said to one of his coaches, he said, you know what? He goes, I don't know, the way that park's playing, the lineup they have, he goes, I don't know if we can win a game. And he said, unfortunately, I was right.
He's right.
We didn't win a game. Rockies swept the 4-game set from the Cards. Ball 4. So Casey Blake walks. 1 out, 2 on for Juan Pierre. Juan has been on a couple of times.
Hey, kids, join the big leagues by signing up for the Rockies Rookies Kids Fan Club. Open to kids 15 and under. Membership includes half-price Rockies ticket, access to exclusive events, and more. Call 303-312-2BAT for more information, or go online to ColoradoRockies.com.
Strike 1 on Pierre. Line single to center his last time up. Also a walk. Struck out his first time. Blake DeWitt reached on an error by Atkins. He's at second. Casey Blake, the pinch hitter, at first. 1-1. 10-2 Colorado in the 7th. In the air, right center field, and Brad Hopp with a good jump makes the catch. DeWitt tags. He'll go to third. Saw a moment ago Jason Grilli starting to toss.
This is a pretty good play from Brad Hopp for a number of reasons. The wind started to pick up just a little bit more coming in from center field, maybe blowing across just a little bit. You know, Juan Pierre doesn't have a whole lot of power, but he got right onto that ball, and Brad had to go get it. And they couple that with the raindrops that are still falling here. Fighting a little bit of everything, all the elements.
Orlando Hudson 0 for 2 and a walk. Shot foul. Orlando brought into the ball game an 11-game hitting streak, which matches his career best. That is on the line.
What a pickup for him. I mean, not only what he's done offensively, but just the leadership he provides in the clubhouse.
He's a good man.
Yes, he is.
1 ball, 1 strike. I was talking to Orlando yesterday about NASCAR, and you know me, I don't know a thing about NASCAR. And he's from Darlington, South Carolina. We were chatting about this on Friday. And when he's home, he's always at Darlington. And the guy he follows is Junior, Dale Earnhardt Jr. And he hangs out and gets to hang out with his pit crew a little bit. It's a big thrill. He goes, we got to get Dale going. We got to get Junior going.
Junior.
Swung on and missed. So Marquis, no damage done. As he strikes out Orlando Hudson to end the 7th inning. 10-2 Colorado. We'll Rockies baseball on FSN is brought to you by Big Brothers Big Sisters. Donate your car and get a free tow at tax break, and you'll help change a kid's life. By Courtyard by Marriott on the 16th Street Mall. Ask about our hometown sports package. And by StubHub. StubHub, official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Colorado Rockies. Garrett Atkins leading things off. Will Omen out of Ponderosa High School down in Parker's now in the ball game for the Dodgers, and this ball is bounced to Hudson. One out, and that'll bring up Brad Hopp.
Will has a few friends in attendance today. Part of the Ponderosa Mustang baseball team is here. Compliments of Mr. Omen.
Oh, good deal. State playoffs getting ready to start pretty soon.
All the games have to be in by the middle to the end of next week, and the brackets will come out.
It's like the team to beat against Rocky Mountain High School
Imagine
up north. Yeah. We only have, what, 5 Division I kids on that team? 1-1 on Hop. Bradley 1 for 2 and a walk. His walk drove in a run. Brad with 14 RBIs to lead the club. Got the average at 315. Looking up and down that lineup, you know what? 1 through 9, everybody has reached for the Rockies.
Everybody scored a run except for Baker, but he just decided to drive in 3.
Yeah, so we'll let him off the hook.
It's kind of fun to see all that.
It's fun to see. It was much needed. The Rockies have to build on it. It shouldn't be an aberration. We've talked about how deep this lineup is. They may not have one guy in the middle of the lineup who's going to hit 35, 40 home runs, but they have a lot of guys that can hit 15 to 20. They have a lot of guys that can drive in 60 plus.
Yeah.
And they did it against a quality arm today in Clayton Kershaw. This is rolled to second. Two outs. Here comes Jeff Baker. The big hit of the week is brought to you by Mako. 5th inning, bases loaded. There's Bake. And a breaking pitch driven over the head of Matt Kemp all the way to the wall. A 3-run triple. First 3 RBIs of the season for Jeff Baker, the former Clemson All-American. That made the score 9-0. Outside ball 1.
I'm a little surprised Will had to wait so long to get signed. You know?
There's a lot of guys, though, that were in that position. And there's several, as you know, Jeff, that are still out there. I'm waiting for Pedro Martinez to emerge somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, every year we talk about the lack of pitching in baseball. And Pedro Martinez during the WBC was hitting 90, 91, which means the arm strain's still there.
That's what I was thinking, that what he showed during the WBC, where I thought somebody would go out and sign him then.
Down the line of third, just foul.
But you're right, the economics of the game are different, and guys were holding out over the winter, and then things kind of came to a halt. A bunch of guys still sitting at home trying to stay in shape in case they do get that call. That's really tough to do this time of year too. You can get away with it in February and March because there's still some guys you can play catch with, whatever. Now it's getting to April, May. Trying to stay sharp.
1-2 on Baker. High. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Scott Elbert went an inning and a third following up Kershaw. He gave up a run on 3 hits. He let all 3 inherited runners score on that triple by Baker. That was center cut. Baker fouled it straight back. baseball-minded parents and their little boys are 2 years old tie that right hand to their waist, so you're going to be a lefty because you can make a lot of money if you throw about 85 plus.
Well, there's that old saying in baseball, if you're left-handed and breathing, you still got a shot.
And through the years, I'm sure you've seen a few.
Yep.
Ullman strikes out Baker. He works a 1-2-3 seventh inning. We move on to the eighth. The Rockies in charge, up 10-2. Rockies have out-hit the Dodgers 11-4. They're up 10-2. Most importantly, our game summary brought to you by vhits.com. Rockies have a couple of two-run home runs from Clint Barmas and Ryan Spilborghs. The third for Barmas, the first of the year for Spilly. Jason Marquis has been terrific. 7 innings, 4 hits, a couple of runs. Andre Ethier will be the first to hit here in the 8th, and Marquis is still out there. Hard sinker for a strike.
That was his 100th pitch, but then it's been an easy 100 pitches. I mean, he just went a couple traffic innings, but besides that, it seems like he's out there putting the ball where he wants to.
Like that.
Yeah.
You're not going to hit that.
No. And the other thing it does right now, too, is it just allows you to sit a few of those guys down in the bullpen, give them a day off. And
I think it sets a standard, too.
It really does.
It sends a message. This ball is lifted to right field. Pop settling underneath. And Alana Rizza has a little bit more on today's Mike Shaw auto update.
Yeah, thanks once again, Drew. It's so nice to see Jason Marquis still up there on the mound. And maybe the pen won't have to come in and relieve anybody today. Maybe they will. However, yesterday, Matt Daly getting his major league debut had a tremendous performance. And Clint Hurdle told you this morning, Drew, that he had that confidence at the end of spring training and said, hey, I am a big league pitcher. More on that in Rockies Weekly tonight. But I asked Matt about that. I said, well, how did you know you had that confidence? What made you say that? He said, the success I've had in the last spring trainings this past season and the season before. I said, okay, so when you actually had your major league debut, was it as exciting as you anticipated? He said it was even better. The lights were brighter, the grass was greener, and it was absolutely phenomenal. I also asked him, you've really paid your dues, an undrafted free agent that didn't really get many looks by anybody. And I said, what made you stay in the game? He said, my absolute love for the game and my willingness to succeed and the fact I wanted to do what I did yesterday, Drew.
Well, Alana, Ryan Spire, who's currently on the disabled list, another East Coast pitcher who went undrafted, who made the big leagues. He's out of Radford College. And as we discussed in great length last night, Daly is out of Bucknell, the alma mater of Christy Mathewson.
Well, I mean, speaking from a former guy that was not drafted himself, I mean, you just can't feel anything but just pride for these two guys to continue to do and to buck the odds. Go out there and say, you know what, I can play at this level, and just give me a shot and I can do it.
And you're a great story as well, because sometimes right after the draft, the phone will ring on players that thought they may get drafted, and you fell into that case. But correct me if I'm wrong, the call didn't come to summer ball for
right.
you.
It didn't come until August of that year. They said I was playing in a tournament, and they said, yeah, we'd like to sign you, but not until the following year, and you can come to spring training and see what you got. And it's a very difficult place to be in, because everybody expects when you play college that you're going to get drafted, and you'll go play in the minor leagues, and everything's going to be A-OK.
Here's the 2-2 to Loney, and this ball's hit well left center field. If Dexter catches up with this, that would be special. He tracked the baseball. I can't believe he got within 6 furlongs of that baseball.
Well, the reason why he was able to get that close was because of his athletic ability, but those flags, that is what caused that ball to slice away from him just enough that he's not able to catch up to it. He gets a great break on it and covers a ton of ground. And to even get that close just shows you how athletic he is, and they're able to knock it down and keep it from going to the wall.
Ryan Spilborgs told me before the ball game, he was on part of the pregame show, I believe, that he is so impressed with the professionalism of Dexter Fowler, not to mention certainly his talent level, that is obvious, but how he goes about his business each and every day.
That wins your teammates more than anything.
Dexter will get a chance here again. This ball is over his head, and one hops the wall. Russell Martin with a run-scoring double. And with the pitch count at 108, I think Clint's going to say, Jason, super job. We're going to let the bullpen get the last 5 outs.
And rightfully so. I mean, he's gone out there and done everything.
Longest outing by a starter this year. 7 1/3 for Jason Marquis, and he's going to get a standing ovation. A well-deserved one. He leaves with a 10-3 lead in the 8th inning. 1 out. Houston Street takes over. This call to the pen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 800 Comcast.
An opportunity now for Houston to come in a ball game 10-3. Pitches inning and 2/3 of really good baseball the other day. Yeah, made a mistake and unfortunately cost him a couple runs, but come in, follow the heels, a little bit less pressure right now. We're on the heels of what Jason Marquis was able to do today.
Matt Kemp at the plate, 0 for 3. There's a strike from Street. Rockies got 4 in the second, 5 in the fifth. They added a single run in the sixth.
A couple crooked numbers that we were talking about maybe on Friday night's ball game. A 4 and a 5.
Yeah, and if you watch the first couple innings, you felt like, man, this is going to be another grinded out ball game for the Rockies offense. Clayton Kershaw dominant in the first 2 innings. 2 1-2-3 innings, couple of punch outs.
Yeah, both guys looked like they had dinner reservations about 3:30.
Yeah. No loud outs.
No.
But then the Rockies got after him in the third. Couple of 2-run home runs. Barmas and Spilborghs. And they knocked them out in the fifth. 2-1 on Kemp.
Rockies fans, create your own Colorado Rockies collectible using your favorite photos at the photo store on ColoradoRockies.com. In 3 easy steps, you can make your very own Rockies memories. Go to ColoradoRockies.com today to create your memory.
Marquis went upstairs, got the jacket on, and watch the rest of the ball game with his teammates from the bench. 2-2 on Kemp. Russell Martin at second. He and Loney with back-to-back doubles. Some scores from around the National League. The Phils beat up Florida 13-2. Phillies now a game over 500. Jamie Moyer got the win. He's now 3-1. And the Phillies finally kept another team in the ballpark. No home runs for Florida. In fact, no home runs for Philadelphia.
Jamie Moyer.
Jamie Moyer, 56-year-old, doing wonderful.
55.
Is that how old he is?
Seems like it. Good for him.
Yep, good for him is right. Cincinnati beat Atlanta 8-2. Reds are 10-8. Jay Bruce, a couple of home runs, 4 and 5 for Cincinnati. Ball 4.
Not sure where this pitch ended up. Slider from the Hyundai cam. It gets the plate as it goes across there. The way Matt Kemp looked at it, might have thought it was low, but take a look at this right at the knees. Well, that was a close one. And I know after that pitch, Houston looked into Lance Barksdale and asked if it was down. And he said, yeah. I think you might have missed that one.
Blake DeWitt at the plate. 0 for 3, though he reached on an error by Atkins his last time up. That's in there for a strike. Washington beat the Mets 8-1. Kearns a home run, his third. Flores his second. Zimmerman over Perez in that one, fouled off.
This is Washington's what, 4th win?
4-13 now. Mets are not playing great baseball other than when Santana's on the mound. They're 8-10. They have significant pitching issues. Houston leading 3-2 in the 9th inning over Milwaukee down in Houston. Pudge with his second home run of the year. Cubs beat St. Louis 10-3, cooled them off. And that just missed. 1-2. Fukudomi his 4th home run. Hoffpower his second.
Yeah, Derek Lee left that ball game with neck spasms.
Hopefully nothing serious. Rick Ankiel his second. Yadier Molina his second for the Cardinals. This ball in the air to shallow left center. Spilborghs. You know what? Jeff, that's a tougher play. I mean, you can explain that better than I can. That's a tougher play than people realize. When you're running 40 yards like that with the wind blowing.
Yeah, it is, because what happens when you have to run that far, a lot of times when you start to break it down just a little bit, the ball starts to bounce on you. And you first have to figure out which way the wind's blowing and trust it's going to blow back. How much is it going to blow back? And then you break it down at the end. You have to run a long distance and also worry about where the shortstop is.
Two outs. Juan Castro at the plate. Outside. Padres at Petco trailing 5-2 to the Pirates. That ball game is in the 5th inning. Adrian Gonzalez has hit his 7th for San Diego. How many home runs would he hit if he didn't play at Petco?
40.
What a tremendous hitter. Adam LaRoche is 4th for the Buccos. Right field and deep, but playable for Hop. And Houston Street ends up getting the final 2 outs of the 8th inning. A run did come around. Charge to Marquis. 10-3 Colorado. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Colorado Rockies. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Colorado Rockies. The duck's just chilling right there. Huh? See, ducks don't mind the water, Huey. They're used to the water. Even when it's really slow moving. Water. Guillermo Mota is the 4th pitcher utilized by Joe Torre. You okay?
I'm okay.
You're wondering if I'm okay.
Yeah, that was a big concern of mine. I knew the duck was okay.
Yeah. Mota will throw the bottom of the 8th inning. Chris Iannetta, Clint Barmas, and the pitcher's spot. You know, a little while ago, Huey, you and I were discussing some of the prominent unsigned free agents, and here it is, April 26th. We mentioned Pedro Martinez. Some other names still out there. Paul Bird, El Duque, Orlando Hernandez, John Lieber, when you're talking about teams needing arms. And then some guys that you figure can help you offensively. Frank Thomas is out there.
Well, there's only a handful of clubs he could go to. He's got to be a DH.
He's got to be a DH, but there's 14 teams in the American League.
Yeah.
Jay Payton, former Rockies, out there, and he does not have to go to an American League club.
No, he can do a lot of different things.
Mark Rizolanic.
People are concerned about Rizolanic's back.
Iannetta hits it to right center field fairly well. Andre Ethier, he's been busy all weekend, makes the catch. That'll bring up Clint Barmas. Jim Edmonds, who was so good in Chicago last year, many thought he was done. Quest in-game box. Those are the kind of stats you want to see. Everybody involved. Everybody scored a run or driven in a run today for the Rockies. Jeff Baker's the only guy who hasn't scored a run, but he's driven in 3. Barmas, a towering pop-up toward Orlando Hudson. 2 outs. And Ian Stewart will be the pinch hitter. Three home runs, 8 RBIs. Atkins, Tulowitzki, Stewart, Barmas all with 3 home runs, leading the Rockies.
Ian also leads the Rockies in pinch hit appearances. This is his 8th on the season.
And one of his 3 home runs came as a pinch hitter. Clint Barmas also a pinch hit home run. That came the other night. Today, the 15th anniversary of opening day at Coors Field. If that baseball were to drop on your windshield, you would have damage to it.
Where would you go?
Well, I would advise you to go see our friends at Elite Safelite Auto Glass. And if you didn't want to run out there immediately, you can call them at 303-287-5000, or maybe go on your computer, safelite.com. Oh, 2 on Stewart. High, 1-2.
I'm sure in Little League he put a few car windows out, people parking behind the fence there at Little League fields.
Yeah, I mean, when Stewart played in Little League, you're probably better off parking right behind the backstop. Don't worry about a foul ball. Don't park way out there in right center field, because he would play ping pong with the windshields out there. So what does Stewie do? He fouls one straight back.
Well, he heard us talking about him. It's just over our head.
Manuel Corpus needs to get a little 9th inning work. Two and 2. All the close decisions this year for the Rockies, they've come up on the short end. They're 0-4 in 1-run games. They have 2 2-run losses. They're 0-6 in games decided by 2 runs or less.
Yeah, and a couple of those there were late losses too. Those are the ones that hurt, but you flip flop some of those around and the record's different.
Yeah, but you can't do that.
Nope.
Rule against it.
It
We'll go to the 9th inning. The Rockies not in a close game this afternoon. It's 10-3. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Southwest has low fares with no hidden fees, where what you see is what you pay. By Mike Shaw Chevy Saab, Colorado's crossover and SUV headquarters on Colorado Boulevard for 50 years. And by Dex, take the sport out of finding local information with Dex. Find what you need when you need it in print and online at DexKnows.com. Coors Field, a happy spot this afternoon. The Rockies up 10-3. Top of the 9th inning, 3 outs to go before we see Tom Helmer.
That's right. Coming up after the ball game, of course, we'll get you back down into the clubhouse, hear what the Rockies have to say about this game. We'll also talk about Grand Marquis, not my car from high school, but the tremendous performance by Jason Marquis today, and Spilleth Over. It's got double meaning. We're talking about Ryan Spilborghs and the offensive blowout today. It was great. It's not as good as, you know, Manny being Fanny, but I'm trying to come up with stuff. I'm working out here, Drew.
Well, I thought that was a Clint Eastwood film, Grand Marquis.
That was a different car. Different car. But it's going to be the sequel's Grand Marquis.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
What color was it?
Blue. Navy blue with pleather interior.
Kind of like the car I saw you get in the other night.
I still have it.
Yeah. All right, Tommy, we'll see you in a little bit. Slider misses. It's 2-0. On Mark Loretta, the pinch hitter. This call to the bullpen is brought to you as always by our friends at Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. 800 Comcast, the number. There's a strike. Stewart's in the ball game for Baker at third.
It's nice for Manny to be out there, and much like Houston Street last inning, where it's not a pressure-packed situation. Get some work in with the big lead.
So glad we're seeing Mark Loretta pinch hitting in a situation where he can't beat the Rockies.
Isn't that the truth?
Done that twice already this year. 2-2. It's going to be a tough chance for Stewart. Bare hand to first, and Ionetta backing up. He's going to grab the baseball. That's going to be an infield hit for Loretta. Today's Land Rover extraordinary play of the game. How about the plays of Rocky starter Jason Marquis? He goes 7 1/3, allows 3 runs on 6 hits. Walked 4, struck out 5, threw out another hit naturally. Also had a sac bunt. And Marquis poised to go 3 in 1. Land Rover designed for the extraordinary. Juan Pierre to center field. Another hit for Juan.
Oh.
That's one of those tough situations for a runner. Loretta had to freeze to make sure that that line drive dropped. And then he's about 30 feet away, and he's going, oh no, Fowler may get the force on me at second. He took 3 steps in a stumble dive.
Well, a stumble? I think more of a fall. That's why he's laughing. Everybody, it's one of those things as a base runner, there's nothing you can do. That ball was hit off the end of the bat. Fowler looked like he might get a read on it, caught it and kept it in front. And now you got to get back into the mindset of, you know what, it's getting the ground ball here, get the double play, and let's end this thing.
Orlando Hudson 0 for 3 and a walk. And Hudson hits this ball well right center field. Fowler trying to chase it down, and he'll get to it. What a marvelous catch. And all the way around second was Juan Pierre. He almost passed Mark Loretta, and he had to retrace his steps. Fowler has done it again, and he robs Orlando Hudson of continuing his hit streak.
Yeah, just the ground that he has to cover. It keeps his eye on the baseball and then gets it, understanding that once he catches it, he's got to turn around because he's got a couple runners. But a little bit of a snow cone at the end. But Pierre, what you're talking about, once you go around second base, you have to retouch the base to get back to first, and he did. But he was only about, let's say, 3 or 4 steps behind Loretta.
That's a rule one of your minor league teammates by the name of Larry Walker learned when he was in the minor leagues. He got all the way almost to third base. Great catch has been in the outfield. Larry knew he had to get back, so he shortest distance between 2 places is a straight line. Ran right across the pitcher's man over to first base. They got the ball in. He was there. They tag him, and the umpire says you're out. And he started arguing. He goes, "What do you mean I'm out? I'm standing on the base."
Beat the throw, didn't he?
Yeah.
Good old Larry. I'm sure he's listening and watching today.
Yeah.
I won't tell a couple of the other stories about Larry. We'll just leave it at that one today.
It's always tomorrow.
Yep.
2-0 on Andre Ethier. Well, I know it's a 7-run lead, and this is far from a save situation for Manuel Corpus, but he's been up and down this year, and he wants a clean outing.
Oh,
he's got 2 base runners on a couple of hits. One was an infield hit. He had a long drive. This ball is pulled down the line, and it hooks foul.
Well, a confidence factor. You got to have the confidence. Yeah, it's a 10-3 ball game. It's not a save, as you mentioned, Drew, but still, you want to go out there. You want to have clean innings. Build on it for your next outing. When it does count, when you have to come into a ball game with a 3-2, 4-3 lead.
Two, ground ball up the middle. Nice play by Tulowitzki. They get the out. Nope. Pulled him off the bag.
Yeah.
Great play by Tulo just to get to the baseball.
What helped was this ball went right off the top of Manny's glove. And that's what allowed Troy to get it. The first bounce goes right off the outside part of the glove. And then when Troy tried to flip it behind him, where his momentum was going, just caught Clint Barmas and caught him, and he had to go off the bag just to get it. Just couldn't quite stretch far enough. Another angle on it from the Hyundai cam. You realize too, with the fast runner for Troy at shortstop, with the fast runner Pierre, that you got to try to get rid of the ball. This wasn't on line, but fine effort.
Now James Loney. James has 3 hits in the ball game, including 2 doubles, 2 on double back in the 6th. 3 hits today. He's over 300 on the season. The 324. One and one.
Well, now the problem too, if you're Clint Hurdle, it's in this ball game. Yes, just 10-3, bases are loaded, but you have to get somebody else up in the bullpen.
Just not what you want.
No.
And unless, Manny, maybe if he gets a double play ball, you get out of it throwing 16 pitches, 17 pitches. But right now he's at 15. If he goes and throws 25 or something like that, you start impacting, tomorrow. That's a fair ball. He's going to score a run. 1 play for Atkins.
The other thing, though, Alan Embry doesn't know that out in the bullpen. He's got to try to get ready, although he can get ready in a heartbeat. But still, it's more throws that he has to make. But now you get the 2 outs, you get Russell Martin, and be done with it.
Two outs. Russell Martin. 3 RBI day for Loney. Martin, an RBI double last inning. Runners at second and third. This is something right now the Rockies are going to have to deal with, whether it's Manuel Corpus or Houston Street. Street in his career has averaged pretty close to a strikeout an inning, but still, when you look at their makeup, they're more contact closers than a guy like Jonathan Broxton, who's going to pile up the punch outs. So you got to play defense behind him, and hopefully the balls in play don't find holes. You're not necessarily always hit hard. I mean, Manny hasn't been punished with hard hit balls in the inning for the most part.
Yeah, you think of Loretta's off the end of the bat, get a scratch infield single, and then the one from Pierre on center field. But still, that happens. But now you got to be able to make the pitches when you have to.
Here's the 0-2, 1-2. Rockies lost the last couple of ball games 6-5 to the Dodgers. They're up 10-4 with 2 outs in the 9th. In front of a partisan Coors Field crowd. In the air down the right field line, drifting. Out of play. Rockies 10 runs, 11 hits against a pitching staff that allowed a .215 batting average coming in.
Yeah, the one Achilles heel for the Dodgers supposedly was supposed to be their staff.
Here's the 1-2.
Nice block. This sign that it goes down, keeps that ball from going through his legs.
He's got it. And the Rockies defeat the Dodgers for the first time in 2009. The final score 10-4. Rockies got after Clayton Kershaw in the third inning.